Hi there. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dan LaFramboise, and I'm a co-founder of Axion Wealth Advisors. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Wealth. Today's topic is property and casualty insurance. Most of us know it as homeowners insurance, as well as other related insurances such as umbrella policies and valuable article policies. I send out this reminder to our clients each year in July, and I do so because it's important that you stay on top of this subject every year. Here in California, this is an especially challenging topic. The state of the property and casualty insurance industry is something of a catastrophe here in California. There are quite a few reasons why, and I detailed those reasons in the white paper I wrote about this subject. If you have any interest in understanding why this type of insurance is so challenging in California, click on the link below and it will take you to the full written white paper about it. It would only take a few minutes to read, and if you're a California resident, I highly recommend it so that you have a clearer understanding of what's been causing these problems. As I discuss the subject, you'll see that there are a number of questions that you should be asking your property and casualty insurance agent. You don't have to write them down while watching this video because they're all written down in the white paper. So just go to the white paper when you need to remind yourself of what those questions are. Closer to the end of the video, I discuss why I feel it's important to use an independent insurance broker to help you obtain your insurances, as opposed to going directly to the company yourself. It fundamentally changes your relationship with the insurance company and offers you potentially significant protections when it comes to making sure that you're properly insured. There's also a huge benefit to having an independent professional manage the conversation with the insurance company if you have to make a claim. As you'll see, I'll get into greater detail about that in just a few minutes. Property and casualty insurance is one of those things that most of us need and purchase, but it's very easy to forget about once it's in place. After all, how often do we find ourselves having to exercise the benefits of our homeowner's insurance policy? In a perfect world, the answer would be never. Even though it's not something that we think about frequently, appropriate property and casualty coverage is a critical part of wealth preservation. For most people, their homes and its contents are one of the largest and most expensive assets they'll ever own. I specifically chose this topic because of the timing. As we move into summer, we are also moving into the start of fire season. You may recall that in 2003 and again in 2007, we had very bad fire seasons here in Southern California. Hundreds of homes were lost here in San Diego during those fires. When the fires in October 2003 were happening, a friend of mine volunteered to help answer the FEMA, or Federal Emergency Management Agency, hotlines. Those calls were coming in from people that had lost their homes and weren't sure what to do next. As a volunteer, he had a list of questions that he asked each caller. The questions focused on their insurance. The bottom line is that out of the first 9 calls he took, all 9 were underinsured and not going to get enough money to rebuild their home. So I'm encouraging you to have regular discussions with your property and casualty insurance specialist so that this doesn't happen to you. My P&C Advisor tells me that the primary reason why people don't get enough money to replace what they lost is because they put the policy in place years ago and haven't had the coverage amounts reviewed. Most policies provide coverage up to a certain dollar amount per square foot to rebuild. The problem is that rebuild costs go up over time, and many policies identify a specific maximum dollar amount. If that dollar amount was determined years ago, it may very well be inadequate if something were to happen today. So your homework is to contact your P&C expert in the next week and ask the following questions, as well as any others that you can think of. Number 1, when was the last time a replacement cost estimate was done on your property? Your advisor has access to a database that will tell him or her what the replacement cost per square foot is in your area. It also depends on the quality of fixtures in your home. Let your P&C advisor know if you have high quality upgrades in the house. I've been told that a replacement cost analysis should be performed at least once every 2 to 3 years, if not more often. If they haven't done so recently, ask them to do so for you. Question 2, should you schedule certain valuable articles like jewelry, art, and things like that specifically in your policy? If you have anything of sizable monetary value, ask your advisor if it should be scheduled. One of the benefits is that if you ever need to make a claim on it, it's typically not subject to the normal policy deductible. 3, do you have an umbrella policy and/or do you need one? 4, if you need one, what's the right coverage amount? 5, does it cover everything? Water toys, off-road toys, rental homes, second homes? I'm a firm believer in having an umbrella policy. The rule of thumb that I use for determining coverage is that it should be enough to cover your entire net worth. Make sure to talk with your P&C advisor about this and have them help determine the need and the appropriate coverage amount. Number 6, loss of use. If you're forced to move out of your property due to an event that's covered by your policy, does the policy provide you with a similar type of place to stay while the work to repair your property is being done? If so, is there a maximum time limit on that benefit? Number 7, do either my homeowner's policy or umbrella policy cover any of the following? Cyber liability, equipment breakdown, domestic employees. Question 8, when was the last time your P&C advisor shopped your coverage between multiple insurance companies to make sure that you're getting the appropriate coverage for the minimum price? This one's particularly difficult these days. There are so few companies offering to insure properties in California right now that there may be no options. If possible, my advisor shops my coverage with multiple insurance companies at least every 2 to 3 years to make sure that I'm getting the best price and coverage possible. She also calls me 2 to 3 months in advance of my policy renewing every year to ask me if I've bought anything new that may need to be itemized, or did I do any upgrades to the house, etc. Please make sure that your advisor is doing the same. Lastly, but extremely important, you need to understand the relationship between you and your insurer. If you work with a company that sells you the insurance directly, for example, Farmers, State Farm, Wawanesa, 21st Century, USAA, and others, they have no legal obligation to you. That means that if they give you bad advice on the coverage you buy, they have no liability. Their allegiance is to the company that they work for, not you. If you work with a broker that can offer coverage from a number of different insurance companies, they have a fiduciary responsibility to you. This means that if they give you bad advice on the coverage that you buy, you may have legal recourse against them for any losses that you suffer because of their bad advice. As you can imagine, I only use brokers for my insurance and never go directly to the company. So while this is not an exhaustive list of questions, hopefully it will give you enough information to have an informed conversation with your property and casualty advisor in an effort to make sure that you're getting the appropriate coverage that you need for the best price. Hopefully this information is helpful. Maintaining wealth is not just about your investments. Protecting assets is a big part of the puzzle. Unfortunately, not all wealth managers out there also work with their clients to focus on these types of issues, even though they are really important. So feel free to share this message with anyone that you think could benefit from it. Thanks so much for taking a few minutes to watch this video. Hopefully you found it informative. You can also find the white paper on this subject as well as other subjects on our website at axionwa.com. That's AXIONWA.com. Again, my name is Dan LaFramboise, and I'm a co-founder of Axion Wealth Advisors. If you have any questions about this or any other topics, please feel free to reach out.